Alright, sorry about making a second video. It was having huge technology issues today, so hopefully this works. I'm just going to do 3 and 4 real quick, and that should finish it. Remember, on our last one, we already had turn. So we already had turn. We had turn in, and then we had your group. Right. So now I'm going to do number 3. Says how do I get x squared? X and x. Remember, that's the easy one. 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Remember, they both all have to be negative because this is a negative and right here is a positive. So that means I should have x minus 2, x minus 3, because remember, I needed to add up to be negative 5. I'm allowed to use my short trick. Now, if you did the outside and inside, that's going to give you negative 5x too, so you could always just continue to do the outside and inside. Now that it works, I'm going to set each parentheses equal to 0, so I'm going to say x minus 2 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. So I have x equals 2, x equals 3. And I believe, guys, this is supposed to be 7, and this is supposed to be negative 7. I think I had it backwards when I made my chart. So that's going to give me 2 and 3. Now, the fourth is the hardest one because remember, it needs to equal 0. It does not. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add 23x to both sides. You could move the minus 3x squared over, but my personal opinion is that I like to have this guy stay positive. The x squared term I like to be positive. It makes everything a little more difficult if it's negative. So my personal preference is I would rather move the two negatives over, even though it's more moving. I really didn't move them over. I just added the same thing to both sides to make them cancel out. So the left side becomes 3x squared plus 23x minus 14. Remember, now it's equal to 0. That's what now that it equals 0, I'm allowed to do my breakdown. So I say, how do I get 3x squared, 3x and x? How do I get negative 14? Negative 1 and 14, negative 2 and 7. Now I'm going to use a little bit of like higher level thinking here. Because I have this chart, right? I'm actually going to look for 14. Because if I don't see 14 on here, it's very unlikely that 14 is going to be an answer. I don't see something with like either 14 thirds or 14. If I don't see 14 anywhere, more than likely 14 is not going to work. And I don't see 14 anywhere. So although this could be wrong, I think negative 2 and 7 is going to work first. So I'm just going to guess that. So I'm going to say 3x minus 2, x plus 7. And it's equal to 0. And the reason I put the 2 over here instead of over here was once again, if the 7 was right here, I'd probably see 7 thirds or negative 7 thirds somewhere on this chart, and I don't. So because of that, I'm going to just try it this way. So I'm going to do the outside. The outside. Oh, and I had a mistake here. This should be plus 14. So that means these are both going to be positive. So the outside is going to give me 21x. The inside is going to give me 2x. Together it's 23x, which is what I want in the middle, right? So now that it's right, I get to set each piece equal to 0. 3x plus 2 equals 0. Or x plus 7 equals 0. Now when I go to solve it, I got a minus 2 from both sides. I'm actually showing the solve steps this time because it's a multi-step problem. Now I divide both sides by 2. By 3. X equals negative 2 thirds. I divide both sides by 3 to make the x all by itself. So I get negative 2 thirds. Maybe my earlier one had positive 2 thirds. I can't remember now. And then finally I say x equals negative 7. And remember, I had a typo. It should have been credit here. So turn in your group project today for credit. So let's do it. Turn your stuff in. The keyword for part 2 is technology. keyword for part 2 is technology.